Welcome. Before we begin, a brief caution. Some of the movements and exercises in the video may not be suitable for everyone. If you have any questions or concerns about your ability to safely perform these exercises and movements, please stop immediately, consult with the appropriate member of your healthcare team, and only proceed when all of your questions and concerns have been appropriately addressed. And now, let's dive in. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about posture. Now, like all things Tai Chi, there are many, many levels. You can go very, very deep into this, and it's not our intention in this video to go deep or overwhelm you with too much information. What we're going to do is give you some of the basics so that you're off to a good start, a solid foundation, and then over time, we'll iterate, we come back, we'll layer in some more information. So we're going to keep it simple here. So, posture. In general, we want our upper body to feel nice and buoyant. You can imagine that there's a silk thread running from the crown of your head, that spot where the bones come together, not necessarily the high point, but the crown. And this silk thread goes up to the North Star or a star of your choosing. But the idea is that it's an upward kind of feeling. At the same time, the lower body from the waist down, you can feel your hips sinking deep into the earth. You can feel yourself nice and rooted and balanced. And the idea is that you've got a very, very stable base here. You can think about having your tailbone pointed down at the earth, and by pulling in a little bit on the lower abdominals, you're rotating your pelvis just a little bit so that you've got a nice solid, you can imagine a bowl full of water there. So that's the basic architecture of Tai Chi posture. Light upper body, firmly rooted lower body. Let's talk a little bit about each part. And again, not too much detail here, but most importantly are the feet. So we'll start with the feet. You want to have as much as possible, as much of your foot on the ground. Now, I know that there are challenges, whether it's neuropathy or your toes have become curled over time or whatever. So what I'll describe is what we're going for and what I want you to visualize. And if the reality isn't there yet, well, maybe sometime it will be. So think about spreading out your toes and flattening them against the ground. Think about the outside and the inside edges of your foot touching the ground, the heel touching the ground. You want as much contact with the earth as possible. And that's why we recommend not having shoes with a heel, the flat sole, shoes, sandals, whatever. The closer you can get to being on the earth, the best. Tai Chi is, unlike yoga, not traditionally performed barefoot. So we do wear shoes, but with as thin a sole as you can find. I wouldn't go out and just buy Tai Chi specific footwear, but look for something that gives you that feeling of contact with the earth. Okay? Coming up from the feet, we want our limbs to be nice and in alignment. And in particular, if we've got our feet about shoulder width and our ankle joints are right in the middle of the foot. And what I mean by that is they're not leaning this way or this way, but they're coming up directly in line with the kneecaps. The knees are slightly bent, not excessively. Looks a little like this, but they're never locked like that. No joint in Tai Chi is locked. but especially the knees. And I call attention to that because a lot of people, when they're focusing on something, they tend to maybe lock up down here. And in truth, what we want them to do is exactly the opposite, to be nice and loose. So we've got our feet shoulder width, we've got our knees slightly bent, ankle and knees are in alignment. So next is the hips. We want the hips to be nice and relaxed. We already talked about imagining having the tailbone down and a little bit of, there's a saying, the nose kisses the navel kisses the spine. We can't quite get there, but you get the idea. You want to have a little bit coming in. If the crease between your leg and your torso, right where the leg meets, you feel that little crease. You got one on each side. And as much as possible when we're standing here with the tailbone down and the front end, that feels pretty flat. You don't feel much of a crease there. And that's what we're going for at this point. Okay? So coming further up, you want a little bit of space under the arms. You're not necessarily a gunslinger, right? That will throw things off. But you want to have a little bit of space there, maybe enough for a bird's egg. Your shoulders are nice and relaxed. They're not hunched up. You want them to, you roll the shoulders back, feel the shoulder blades dropping. That's a good place to be. And of course, you want your elbows, your wrists, the knuckles on your hands to also feel nice and relaxed. Your fingers slightly curved, a little bit of space between them. If you put your hands on your head, that gives you about the right amount of curvature that we'd want to see in your hands. And those are loosely hanging from your arms at your side. This posture where I'm stacking the different parts of my skeleton, I'm not using a lot of muscle strength to keep me nice and upright. But in fact, the critical thing here is to not be either leaning forward or to the back or to the side. Sometimes your body and your mind are not telling you the truth. So you may want to look in a mirror, you may want to take a small video of you to ensure that you truly are upright when it feels like it. Because uprightness is sort of job number one for effective Tai Chi. We're standing nice and relaxed now. My shoulders are loose. My neck is loose. I've not got any tension in the jaws or the temples where we often carry it. I've got a nice, unfocused, level gaze. And I'm looking out at the near horizon, not really looking at anything at all. And that is the basics, let's call it posture 101 for Tai Chi. So a nice, relaxed, upright. When I talk about aligned, down the center line, that's all straight. And from this position, you're prepared to go into the warm-ups or to perform any of the Tai Chi forms that you'll be learning. There'll be much more on posture as we go deeper into your Tai Chi. See you in the next video.